Hi, Cancer. Thank you for revisiting and welcome to new viewers. And thank you so much for your patience. As I've mentioned in other videos, this particular Mercury retrograde has disrupted my schedule. I mean, a really unusual way. I had an emergency family trip, my computer crashing, and I had to rewrite everything. Tech and internet issues while I'm here away from home. Anyway, I do hope it's been treating you a little bit better. Um, and you haven't had as many disruptions as I have. But in any case, let's get. I'll stop whining and we'll get straight into this. In this video, I will give you your main theme of September 2023. Then I will summarize some of September's major planetary dynamics and how that may affect you. I'll do a quick revisit of a couple of astrological events in the past since we have retrograde planets and some repeating aspects. And finally, a couple of things to look forward to, specifically in the new year. First, and in general, September, I've titled September Hurry Up and Wait. Um, Mainly because we have six planets in retrograde, and I'll include the seventh minor body of Chiron, but I will touch on this later. So yeah, it's a lazy back, laid back approach, just almost like August's, but it's preparing us for something. So, social media, commuting, the spoken word, siblings, your neighborhood, since it is Virgo and Virgo is detailed, and you are a home and family oriented sign, we'll throw in your cousins, nieces, and nephews, and oh, why the heck not? Extended family too. um, The sun is in Virgo now, and it is shining a spotlight on your need to be heard and seen. However, you may have felt like what comes out is just a mess. Of course, Mercury is retrograde in Virgo, so you may have creative difficulties with your speech, or like I said, what you mean to say and what comes out may have people like huh? tilting their heads, like or squinting to understand you. Or maybe you are a school teacher. Most cancers do have that profession. And what you say and what your students do is off kilter. It could be your schedule and routine is a mess, maybe because you also have family from out of town visiting. Maybe they are at your parents' or siblings' place, not necessarily at your place, and you have to stop by almost every day. Cancers love family gatherings, good food, and congregating around the kitchen, especially to catch up on the latest gossip with cousins and siblings. Yeah, you and Gemini are entertaining visitors, family, mostly from out of town, maybe. Okay. Oh, and also you may be planning for a family gathering soon, or you may have already had that. So, something about the family being together. Good news, though, regarding this stop and start with your communication. Mercury does station direct mid month, but Mercury will not clear from its shadow retrograde till the end of the month. So all the stop and rewind will have another tweak by the end of the month. So if you've like had to go from plan A to plan B, um, just have plan C just in case. Even though it's going retrograde between the 15th and the end of the month, it's still shadow. So things might get canceled or changed. So give yourself time and space and afford the same to all those family related people, activities, and things. And of course, this is in your third house of communication. So lessons, if you're the teachers, speeches, if you have speaking engagements, um, commuting, the modes of commuting. your communication devices. So social media, you can throw that in there. And I already discussed your siblings. The only other thing is neighborhood. So your turf, your area of the woods. You might be changing neighborhoods. It's not clear that all of you or majority of you are, but maybe a sliver of you are. So that's been on your mind as well. All right, let's move on to the other big story, which is your money, income, revenue, job, and your value system. Simply who you will and will not sell out for, or what you will and will not sell out for. And then who you find valuable. You and Leo started seeing some kind of lucky payday, but you especially, you may have gotten a raise, or you could have had a promotion, or you could have just gotten monetized with your social media channel, or you may have started an online store, and you've been seeing like quick sales or something like that. But there were issues too. Maybe there is a problem with cashing a check or receiving it. Maybe the qualifications for monetization are still under review, or got jacked somehow. Maybe you're still setting up that website for your online store. It could be something correlated with your value system, though, what you will and will not sell out for, like I mentioned above. So that may have been an issue. You may have also been spending a little bit more than usual lately. Maybe your child went away to school and you had to budget for that. Otherwise, the issue with money could be maybe you're crunching numbers for a major purchase because, like I said, your neighborhood is like lit up, or trying to make the payment fit within your budget. Um, if there's some kind of division or split, maybe that's what's at issue with your money and income. Whatever your particular scenario is, it has to do with Venus being retrograde in Leo. Venus, thankfully, has stationed direct as of the 3rd of this month, but it is moving very, very slowly, and it's still considered in shadow retrograde. It'll clear its shadow by the end of the month, and it'll start, well, maybe before that, but it'll start behaving normally by early October. So have patience with that too. Anyway, we'll move on to a beautiful new Virgo moon coming up on the 14th in a few days, which again is your third house. Cancers are ruled by the moon, and the mother is very, very important for Cancer. So much so that you tend to mother your own siblings, cousins, and even your nieces and nephews. You mirror your mother's nurturing, or maybe not. I mean, not, all Cancerians have great family life, but most of you do. So you mirror that nurturing onto your siblings, cousins, nieces, and nephews, and they reciprocate, almost like treating you as the family's pseudo mom when the mom is not present or what have you. Anyway, set your intentions and plant the seeds of a specific thing you want to achieve by next year, same time, regarding your communication, your tools that you use of communication, so cell phones, laptop, or whatever, Skyping, and your commuting. So if you're going to ditch the gas for electric, or if you're adamant about just keeping getting a gas powered car, whichever it is, or if you want some kind of a relationship, or if you're starting a business with your siblings or your cousins are involved, um, or this new move into a new neighborhood, or being around this neighborhood. So a brand new opportunity may also present itself on this new moon, or Riri, represent itself. I mean, it might have, you might have talked about it and an opportunity may have come up, but you stalled or you hesitated. And if it comes up again, it is your cue that it has to do with a new moon and a new thing that you should seize. And excuse me. um, and also, since it's your third house, it can be with maybe AI. Maybe you're experimenting or thinking about employing AI to help you on in some way. Well, on or about the 14th, you may just get presented with such an opportunity, or like I mentioned, a past opportunity may come back, but this time it will be shinier. It will bling. Because this new moon in Virgo is somewhat of a life changer in some way for you, Cancer. Um, in any case, your siblings, like I said, are somehow involved. Maybe you are looking to completely redo how you communicate or use social media. I mentioned that. Electric car, I mentioned that. Or you could be taking care of like children. If you're an instructor, teacher, it could be that. Or maybe your nieces and nephews are somehow, maybe you're tutoring them or helping them with their speech. Of course, if your siblings or your family is moving, you always want to move closer. So, in any case, this new moon can help with a new start in any of these areas that I have discussed ad nauseum. The only other thing is, if you're old enough, every so many years, the Virgo new moon does bring in a change in the way you communicate and commute, or your neighborhood, siblings, and so forth. Especially if in the same year the outer planet changes signs, like they did earlier this year, namely Pluto and Uranus changed signs early this year. And since the north and south nodes just kicked into Aries and Libra, respectively, the nodes are also bringing back some kind of karma from 18, 19 years ago. So maybe think back to those years and the Virgo new moon. Some, well, you won't remember specifically what year, what month it was that the Virgo new moon started, but during that time, something new about your communication and commuting style and neighborhoods and the relationship with your siblings. Something changed, and it has been ever since that way. That whatever that change was has stayed till now. It was a pretty significant new moon, just as powerful, and anything new or a change will reverberate through the future too. I'm talking about this one that's coming up. Um, The only other thing to note here is just be on top of any health issues, because Virgo natally does rule the house of health, medicine, diseases, and doctors. And I guess COVID is doing something again, I hear. But so if you yourself are stressing about your third house of communication, commuting, and siblings, or your second house of job, income, and values, then take care of your own health and your psyche. Because when we stress, it really brings our immune system down. And since you're out and about with your third house, and this whatever's happening with COVID, just be really careful. Um, and this can also extend to your siblings, or your nieces and nephews, or like I said, if you're a school teacher, something might be delayed there. Anyway, by the end of the month, the full story here will be complete, and issues should conclude and start smoothing out, as Venus will finally leave Leo alone and go into Virgo. So patience, my friends, patience. Even though I don't think you want Um, Virgo to leave Leo. That's your second, or is it? Yeah, it's your second house. Job, income. Even though it's been acting a fool lately, but yeah, that'll smooth out too as well. So you should be okay. Okay. Well, let's see what I have written here. So just a note that may reverberate with you guys. Okay. So Venus rules the zodiac signs of Taurus and Libra. I already mentioned that Libra, rather, Venus was in your second house, and the issues there, and what's going to be in a correction zone. But Venus also rules the zodiac signs of Taurus and Libra. Taurus is your 11th house of friends, groups, associations, group of friends, and your hopes, wishes, and dreams. And for Cancer, too, friends tend to be almost like family. They just mirror back how you nurture, or, you're a very sensitive sign, and automatically you nurture others. Um, Libra is your fourth house of home and family, parents, parenting, home, mortgage, land, property, and your tribe, your clan, like your patriotism. And if you have any Virgo degrees, then something also was like behind the scenes in regards to your money, job, income, and value system. And Pluto is in retrograde in Capricorn. That's your partnership house. And the north and south nodes are karmic in energy from 18 years ago. I broke it down so maybe you can get a picture of the picture I'm getting at seeing the astrology behind it. So something might, trigger um, a meaning or something for you. So, yeah, friends, your home and family, and something behind the scenes, and your partner is either in the know or isn't in the know. Excuse me. And then a change of neighborhood is going on. Anyway, so final decisions are not final, um, at, especially with Venus. Attitudes are still tender, and there may be one or more, um, you know, argument, or less than that, maybe a review or need for a resolution by the end of the month and into early October, when Venus will start behaving like her dignified self. I always say dignified because when she's in retrograde, she's not so dignified. She can be fussy and persnickety. That's my new word. I love that word. Um, Only disclosure is, just be careful of secrets. They never tend to stay secret, and only your hidden self stays that way. Anyone associate with your hidden self does not. So information can come out. Okay, on to Pluto. I'm mentioning Pluto because there is an aspect and a theme regarding Pluto and Capricorn this month. Plus, like I mentioned, it is in retrograde in Capricorn. And, some people say, oh, it's retrograde, it's an easy ride, nothing to worry about. And that may be true, very true for the people who um, picked up on the lesson, sort of understood it, heeded Pluto's advice. And so the retrograde will just be a confirmation of, yeah, I did the right thing by by learning how to be, or what have you. But sometimes when planets are retrograde, they can be even more powerful for the ones who don't heed the lessons, or make the changes. because planets are not skimming the surface. When they're retrograding, they're digging in and under. They're going over some spots that is sensitive, and they clean house basically. Or there may be unfinished business or closure or loose ends to be tied. Um, for you, Cancer, you are used to this energy. Pluto has been in Capricorn for the past 15 years, and it is your house of marriage, partners, contractual agreements. It's a house of mirrors, where the other reflects back to how you're feeling inside. So, for example, if your partner is like lovey-dovey and happy and what have you, it is because you yourself inside feel love for yourself and you're happy. So naturally, you attract that and you reflect that. You project that rather, and they reflect it back to you. Same goes if you're mad or you know being disrespected. It's you who's disrespecting yourself. It's you who is mad at yourself. And once you change you, your partners will stop that reflection of disrespect or being mad. And Pluto is all about power, control, and the fear that comes along with that, of facing it or stepping into your own power. Capricorn is all about steadfast, reliable, prestigious, old money, government, authority, and slow and steady wins the race. So your partners may have been somewhat prestigious, or they could have been involved in government somehow. They could have been rich but old money rich. Um, and they've been like steadfast. They could have had, and their power could have come from that. Um, they may have wielded that control over you, um, only because they're the planets put those powerful partners in your face, in your life, for you to learn from them of how to be, of where their power lies. Because you have it yourself, but maybe you have a fear of that power, and the planets were showing you how to handle that power. The other thing I wanted to say, and oh, your partners doesn't necessarily mean your marriage partners either. I mean, it is, but it can include business partners or anyone who really knows you well and your partners in crime. Quote, not crime, but like, you guys know each other backwards and forward. Or you could have gotten married to a powerful person, and you yourself might have been powerful, and you were considered a power couple. In any case, I'm going on and on, but I want to give you a picture. So late last year, December through March, April, something a surprising or maybe even jolting shift happened where whatever was controlling or powerful, regarding your seventh house suddenly became not so, but it threw you in a powerful position. And could have been divorces, marriage, separations, promotions, demotions, lateral shifts, you buying out a business partner, or people retired, moved, or simply disappeared and freed, excuse me, freed you and maybe others from any constraining or fearful things regarding your partnerships. Um, And since Pluto transits are life altering and transformative, people usually do feel some kind of rebirth, almost like a surreal, because it really is a foundational transformation. And they do become experts in the area affected by Pluto transits. So, um, something like I explained in my other, like the student surpasses the professor. So, when this shift and reshufflement happened in your seventh house, you felt some unexpected relief, maybe, or or maybe not, because it was some jarring in some way. But you felt confident to step into a more powerful partnership position. In any case, the dynamics, arguments, agreements, and information that occurred between December last year and March, April of this year, the consequences of what was said, argued, discussed, or even agreed upon are reverberating somehow this month again, in a new way, maybe. Plus, there is an aspect to Pluto retrograde in Capricorn also this month, but I will discuss that when I go through your September lineup. Okay, we're going to do retrograde planets. Well, let me get the notes. 1 second, Cancer. Okay, so regarding the retrograde planets, just before I get into this, I just wanted to say retrograde planets, please pay attention to when they station, either to go retrograde or to go or direct, because their vibration is super strong when they're stationed. All that, you know, all that energy, and it's in one place. So it usually the information or the dynamics that's happening the day of, maybe the day before or after is super strong, and whatever information or dynamic that's happening, it reverberates through time. So it'll be like, oh, let me think. Like, oh yeah, it was that day that um, started this, or it, I made up my mind because of this, and it was that day that that happened. So anyway, you get the picture. Do pay attention to the station part. So let's go through them quickly. Saturn and Neptune are both in Pisces. Pisces is your ninth house of travel, long distance travel, that is, not like the short distance commutes like your third house. Foreign people and places, and people that are at a distance from you. Academia, so higher education, philosophy, and travel in the mind. So it can tie in with philosophy, with academia, and what have you. Now, Saturn, well, let's first discuss Neptune. Neptune is rules arts, the arts and media. He rules cosmetics, perfumes, alcohol, narcotics, oil industry, anything, of course, marine related, fog, deception, illusions, and being elusive. And Pisces is elusive. Well, they're the two fishes swimming opposite each other. So they may say one thing, and but they do something else. But that's because they can handle that. And elusive, they're very elusive, because you can't really hold, if you've tried to hold a fish or a sea animal or whatever. They're slippery. They slide. So your ninth house has these factors going on, um, and I won't give you examples because it's self-explanatory. But the only thing with Neptune and Pisces is that it's a trip from reality. Uh, it's because it's I, you idealize something, so it's very much in your head. And the ninth house is also a head house, like I said, travel in the mind. So sometimes when we, and it's a pleasing, most of the time it's a pleasing getaway, it's a pleasing escape. So sometimes people escape so far that from reality that they just permanently make that netherworld their home. And that can, of course, cause a lot of problems. So Saturn has come in, and with perfect timing, because Neptune in Pisces has been there since February Valentine's Day, 2012, and it's nearing its the end of its transit, another 2 or so years. But Saturn has come in to make sure that you do come back into reality. He's setting up alarm clocks. Saturn's rings are the guardrails. He's the planet of restriction, of time, of patience. He's the planet of the stern disciplinary, um, the heart but wise teacher. So yeah, so they're both retrograde, and you'll be, especially the last few months when Saturn entered Pisces, you'll be reviewing that, and how the guardrail, the alarm clock, the pulling you back from reality has worked so far. And you'll be reviewing how you can do that in the future when they both station direct, and they'll work again together. Pluto, I mentioned this ad nauseum, and Capricorn, that's your seventh house of marriage partners and contractual agreements, even open enemies. Not a lot of cancers have enemies, because you guys are so sweet. Uranus is in Taurus, and that is your 11th house of friends, groups, group of friends, associations, and your hopes, wishes, and dreams for the future. Excuse me, your aspirations. So you have been, because it's Uranus is the planet of shock and surprise, for electricity, stormy weather. Taurus is the sign of Wall Street, money, banking, and things like that. So something about your friends or associations um, has like quirky genius money people in it. It might be something with, they're showing you with AI, or electricity is being talked about, or some kind of weather. I don't know what it is, but only you know. But it does do it in a surprising or jolting way, Uranus. Or the people can be like quirky and weird, but they're cool. They're the geniuses of the zodiac, even though Tauruses are really laid back and cool. So yeah, these two energies will be interplaying with each other in your 11th house of friends. And then, just to mention, your hopes, wishes, and dreams, like your aspirations for the future, might not end up being what you thought it would be, because that's what Uranus does. It sort of jolts you into another direction. In any case, you are it is in retrograde motion, so you are reviewing that as well. Mercury in Virgo, we talked about this at nauseum as well. It is retrograde, but will be stationing direct soon. Just, it will not be out of shadow until the end of the month, so have plan C. Chiron, the minor body of Chiron, the wounded healer, as he is known, but he was also a very special teacher, a very kind teacher. His teaching style really helped students uh, learn what he was trying to do. And he had that style because he had this wound that would never heal. But he also was known to be the maverick of the zodiac, like, yeah, like in your face. So in any case, he is in Aries retrograde, and that is your 10th house of career, reputation, status, charitable work, and authority figures. So you might be learning or healing something regarding your 10th house of career and status. All right, let's go through your lineups uh, fast too. On the 3rd of September, so almost over a week ago, Venus turned station direct in Leo, your second house of job, income, revenue, and values. And we discussed that in the monologue. Again, um, look up your text, emails, phone calls. Maybe it'll trigger something, a memory of what happened on the 3rd. Remember, I said when they station is the day you should be paying attention to. Or if you have any 12 degrees in Venus or 13 Leo, or 12 or 13 degrees or anything. Um, Moving on the 4th, the next day, Jupiter stationed retrograde in Taurus. Again, your 11th house of friends and groups. So also, try to see what happened that day and if you have any of these degrees. 15 Jupiter, Taurus 35. On the same day, Mercury in Virgo, excuse me, um, your third house of communication, commuting, siblings, neighborhood, and what have you, trined Jupiter in Taurus, your 11th house of friends. So this is a pleasing aspect. It is a soft aspect. So many of you might not even feel it, but some information from your commuting and communication house did favor your 11th house of friends. Uh, I don't know what it could be. Only you know. Again, look up your texts and emails. And it is the second time it happened. The first time was August 9th. So look to that date and maybe it'll trigger your memory. And it'll happen one more time at the end of the month. But, or before then. I'll discuss it when we go through the lineup. Okay, and then 4 days later, on the 8th, the sun in Virgo, again, your house of communications and commuting. This time, the sun trined Jupiter in Taurus, your 11th house. So on the 4th, you got this information that was good to your 11th house. And then the sun is saying, well, what are you going to do with that information? How are you feeling about it? And what have you. So those 2 dates, same theme, but one is information and the other one is the spotlight. Okay, I don't usually mention minor bodies like this, but when they're at 00, I do because it's significant, and you guys might have 00 degrees. On the 13th, let me see, so tomorrow, Pallas will enter Libra. Libra is your fourth house of home, family, parents, parenting, your land, mortgage, patriotism, and what have you. And then it's Libra, so this house always needs to be like in balance for you. And that extends to like cousins and siblings and stuff, even though it's covered in the third house, but you're Cancer. So you're a very much a home person, a family person, a nurturing person. Um, And then again, don't forget, we have Libra in the South Node, um, bringing back some kind of karma from 18 years ago. So that now Pallas enters on the 13th. The same day, Vesta will enter Cancer, your sensitive and nurturing sign. And that's your first house of self, physical appearance, personality, and your CV, and those are at 00. On the 14th, ta-da, we have the new moon in Virgo, your third house of communication and commuting, and it is at 21 degrees Virgo, 59. So um, again, this is the opportunity that I told you to look out for, or maybe a past thing that was discussed and will appear again. Anyway, I already discussed this at length. You can rewind and listen to what I said about the new moon. Another small planet, the planet of the master negotiator of compromises, Ceres, on the 15th will enter Scorpio. It is your fifth house of love, romance. And this is not necessarily a marriage house, it's just true love and romance, flirting, creativity, fun, children, pets, and gambling. And not only just like gambling, like casino gambling, it can be like gambling on things, on a future or an investment or what have you. So that's at 00 right there. And any issues you might have here, Ceres is entering to negotiate. She negotiated with powerful Pluto to return her daughter when he abducted her at least half of the year so that she can be with her, and then the other half she would go back to be his queen. And that's how we have this summer and fall or winter. Just a side note. Okay, on the oh, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I yawn. Um, where were we? 15th, Mercury in Virgo. Finally. So, yeah, stations direct. And finally, I mean, again, don't forget between the 15th and the 29th, 30th, it's still in shadow retrograde. So things still maybe get canceled or tweaked or what have you. But I want you to pay attention to what's happening, the information, because it's Mercury. Um, the information or the dynamic about the information, what's happening on this day, day before, or day after, because that's when planet station is when they're powerful. Okay, and that message reverberates through time. It's Mercury's at 8, Virgo's at 0. 2 days later, Venus in Leo, which is your second house of job and income and values. This is a hard aspect. It squares Jupiter in Taurus, your third house of communication. And the first time it happened was June 11th. The second time was August 26th. And 2 more days from now, it'll happen again, or not 2 more days, 5 more days. It'll happen again for the third and final time. People are afraid of squares. They don't like squares and oppositions. I myself love squares and like oppositions out of all the tense aspects, hard aspects. Squares especially because squares are really a benefiting dynamic. If something is like deadlocked or juggernauts or and you want it to move forward or you want some kind of solution or resolution, squares comes in and it does that. um, yes, it's a hard aspect, but um, if you know how to handle them and handling them, if there is like a fight or an argument, the best way to be is to be calmer. You lower the temperature when you become calm. And in any case, squares are good. Do not fear squares, and oppositions are good. And if you want to know specifically what it's about, look to these two dates in your text and emails, and it should trigger a memory. The 2 days later, after the 17th, on the 19th, the Sun in Virgo, um, your third house, will oppose Neptune in Pisces, your ninth house. So this is very simple. It's an opposition. Whatever um, you're you have going on with communication or commuting, siblings, or your neighborhood is 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 in disagreement with something regarding people at a distance, foreign places, traveling, um, maybe academia, um, or what have you. And it can be something really simple. Maybe your communication device, because we are still retrograde shadow. Maybe your Skype doesn't work when you're talking to somebody at a distance. It can be something really simple, but look to that. That's an opposition, and oppositions are not as hard as squares, but they are opposing. I mean, they're each one to his own, but you'll know how to fix that, because when the opposition happens, it's either or. You know, either fix it or you don't, or you accept it or you don't. On the 21st, excuse me, the Sun in Virgo will trine another soft aspect. This time, Pluto in Capricorn, and that's your seventh house. So, um, something like the sun is shining a spotlight on these things in your third house, and it's favorable to your partners or your marriage partner, or an, a contractual agreement. It might be you might get something really simple again. You might get a brand new car that and it's electric or what have you, and then maybe your business partner informs you that you guys are getting like a great big bonus because you have an electric fleet or something. Just one example. Moving on, 23rd, the sun will enter Libra, and that is your fourth house of home and family. So your focus, um, emails, texts, and conversations will be on that. It is a sun is zero, Libra is at 0 0. And this happens every year for you, Cancers. It's not something new, but the focus will be more on your home and family. And I think I did mention you have some kind of family gathering, family celebration. Maybe it already happened, but yeah, something about family that's going to be fun. Although nothing about family for you is not fun. It's always fun for you. You love family. On the 25th, Mercury in Virgo. Information regarding your third house, soft aspect will benefit. Oh, Taurus. No, Taurus is not your third house. Taurus is your 11th house. So I made a mistake there. Of friends, groups, and associations. So some kind of information that you will be getting regarding your third house will also favor your friends, groups, associations, and aspirations. So, and this will be the third and final time. Remember when I said it'll happen towards the end of the month? So the first time was August 9th again. Second time, we mentioned it up earlier. It was September 4th, over a week ago. And then the 25th will be the third and final time. Uh, the month ends with the big bang of well, it doesn't end on the 29th, but it ends with the full moon in Aries. This is your 10th house of career, reputation, status, charitable work, or work you do that you don't get paid for, and authority figures. If you have anything at 6 degrees Aries, um, zero on, well, the moon is at 6 degrees Aries one. If you have any of these degrees, this will impact you. And the reason I hesitate is because it does have some hard aspects here, and it is Aries. Um, Aries and full moons are really finalities. So, an ending, let's just be clear, um, in your 10th house, but also, of course, an ending it gives a vacuum to a new beginning. So a new beginning cannot start without an ending. It has to be an ending and full stop. And since it's Aries, hard aspect, well, Aries does everything hard. It's the ram that uses the head to go through anything. So an ending, and it is some hard aspects, but it could be a culmination or a fruition of your past efforts in this house. So look to that and see what happens there. Just two things in the future that I wanted to tell you about is that Jupiter, um, in the new year, the 24th, will station direct, and it will trine Pluto in Capricorn, which is your seventh house. I'm going to grab my notes. So I'm going to end this and start something new. Hold on. Okie doke. So, yeah, I don't want you to stare at a boring screen while I tell you these two exciting things. I want all your senses to be fulfilled. All right, so these two future forecasts, like I said, in January 2024, next year, Jupiter will station direct in your 11th house of friends, groups, associations, your future aspirations. And it will, when it does that, it will trine Pluto in Capricorn, your seventh house of partnerships, marriage, contractual agreements, house of mirrors, and open enemies. And this is a good aspect, even though it's a soft aspect, but you guys will feel this because these are two powerhouse planets. Jupiter, the planet of expansion, good luck, and then Pluto, the planet of control, power, and fear, and all that. And these two houses are um, very sociable houses for everyone, but for you too. Um, so you guys will feel it. So maybe something about your friends or groups. Um, Maybe you meet a marriage prospect from among your friends, uh, and they turn out to be like taking you in a new direction regarding your aspirations, because also Uranus is in Taurus, your group of friends, and I said new directions for that. But or maybe you and your friends are starting a business partnership, or your friends could be setting you up on like the perfect blind date, which you will like just blow up and take off, and because it's Jupiter, it expands, and it'll become really, really good. Otherwise, maybe you find one of your friends to be a frenemy, because the seventh house is the house of open enemies. Or your associations or group of friends maybe has a lawyer and could be helping you out with a contract. It can be any number of things, but it suffice if it say it is a good transit from your 11th house to your seventh house. Wow, this is really cool. I like that. Anyway, this is also setting up the second exciting thing that will happen next year in May. I know it's a long time out, but it's good. Um, and it'll be some kind of a surprise, electrical surprise, shocking surprise, because it's Jupiter in Taurus, your 11th house, will trine, send very good waves, soft aspect to Uranus in Taurus, again, your 11th house. Even though it's a trine, it's a soft aspect, but Uranus does nothing soft. I, I fear Uranus with my life, because Uranus has a weird way of shocking people. Jarring is how I call it. I fear Uranus. Anyway, I just mentioned that because even though it's a soft aspect, you will feel this. Very unusual, surprising, or electrical shock regarding your friendships and aspirations. Again, it may be a marriage, a blind date, or business partnership um, that develops from this house, and it sets your aspirations on a different course where it might shock you and others. I really don't see any negatives here. The only negative could be a friend turns out to be a frenemy, or what have you, or a friendship could disintegrate because of a business partnership, and you may be shocked that your friend or associations acted that way. That could be the only um, bad thing that happens that I can think of. Excuse me. But trines are usually good and pleasing, and throw in the planet of good luck, Jupiter. It should all be good, Cancer. I just fear Uranus. Yeah, I fear Uranus because it can be quirky and jolting. In any case, yeah, I'll stop talking about Uranus. This will be next year, and we will have more videos in the future, and we will figure this out together, Cancer. So don't, not to worry. Okay. Please, if you found this entertaining or informative, please do hit the like button. It really does help my channel, boost my channel up, and consider subscribing. Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for your patience, Cancer. I'll talk to you guys soon.